All right, time to analyze from the DXY down to from DXY down to your USD and GU. All right, so this is what I have on the DXY. I have price has been pushing down consistently. Uh, what we have here, this particular line, is a monthly fair value gap that we've tapped into. We just tapped into a monthly fair value gap. We have reached the monthly fair value gap. But given how it delivered, I think I can see this is actually probably a rejection of that monthly fair value gap. We touched a weekly fair value gap here as well and began to reject this on the DXY. Uh, Price entered this particular fair value gap, and I was expecting us to see this particular fair value gap here, this particular one, and I was expecting to see price deliver on the lower side. Give me a second. We're looking at the fair value gap here. Looking at how price rejected off the fair value gap on the week of the 31st of July, I was thinking that price was going to drop lower, but price pushed higher. Now we don't we don't necessarily know what price is going to do, but we read what the signatures price is giving us. Using that understanding, I know that price is most likely going to be gunning for this fair value gap. So this will be my next draw on liquidity because ICT has taught us that when we are looking at draws on liquidity, price is usually the in terms of which one price expects more, price will usually draw to a fair value gap first. So since the fair value gap was not closed, I'm expecting price to draw to this fair value gap, and then we can see what price is going to do after that. We might draw to this fair value gap. This fair value gap also has an order block. So it will be my interest will be to see what price does when it gets here. It might hit here and come down and reject, and then we continue the downtrend. Or it might hit the order block and then change course, which would be in line with what's going on in the fair, the rejection that happened on the monthly time frame. So I'll be looking to see how price reacts at the zone. That's generally for the uh, USD pairs, the dollar index. Let me go to the daily, still on the USD pair. All right. So we still have a bit of a place to get to. Now, mind you, even though this is my prediction, okay, I'll come to that when I enter the GU and EU. So we have price heading towards this other block now, like we were saying, and the price used this daily inverted fair value gap. That's the fair value gap from here. Price used that as a bounce to keep going higher. So, like I was saying, I strongly believe that next week is going to see price expanding to the upside on DXY. That means we're expecting price to expand on the downside on Euro and GU. But even looking at the DXY, what I'm seeing is we might see we might see price expand all the way here. We have the daily order block here. We have the weekly order block here. There should be a weekly order block. Yeah. We have a daily order block here. We have a weekly order block here. We have a weekly fair value gap here. And we have liquidity. We have buy side liquidity. Based off what I'm thinking is that price is most likely going to draw all the way up here. It might be wise to be a buyer here based on my analysis for the week, because we have this the top there, that's relatively equal highs. It's too clean. It's too clean. I feel like price might go to take that out. Anyways, all right. Analyzing GU from the weekly time frame. Analyzing GU from the weekly time frame. We see how price closed last week. All right. We see how price price is more or less in an uptrend on the weekly. We have a fair value gap here. We see price in a steady uptrend on the weekly for GU. That's the pound versus the dollar. We see price has crossed the fair value gap here, and it's up into the weekly order block here. Looking at this order block, I want to take from the high here to the low here. If we take from the high to the low there, you see price just tapped the middle point of that and then rejected. I'm using those two because this particular order block is the body is very small. So that's why I'm using this one in addition. If I bring it down here, then we see it even happen even more perfectly on the weekly. So price has rejected of the order block. We could see a change, a change in the delivery, a change in state of delivery, because what are the targets that we have? We don't have a lot of targets up here. I mean, we have a weekly fair value gap here. Let's hide in just here, about here on the weekly. That's a pretty far away target. So we could see price drop after the volume imbalance. That's a fair assumption. We have this weekly fair value gap that has just been mitigated, or has it? Because I just realized that it's not on there. So it has not been fully mitigated yet. What's the high here? The high is 25904, and the low here is 25909. So we have not yet mitigated that. It's just almost. So we could see price drop in to fully mitigate that, and then drop lower, or we could see price drop in, fully mitigate that, and keep going higher. If it drops in, that the full mitigation of that would coincide with what we said earlier about the DXY, about how the DXY has the DXY looks like it would want to go and fill in a few arrays up there. Drop into the daily time frame. What do I see on the daily? When I drop to the daily time frame, what I see is price has been pushing down here consistently. We just hit we rejected all this order block of sorry, we rejected the daily order block, actually the mean threshold of the daily order block, and the consequent encroachment of that's the midpoint of it. You can see that just here. Rejected all that as well. But then when price began to push up, it began to push down again, which seems to be giving bearish sentiment, because then we see this daily fair value gap we're expecting to tap into. We see price tap into it hits the consequent inclusion of that daily fair value gap as well. And then price begins to drop almost immediately, which gives us very bearish sentiments, which will once again align with what we might be seeing on the weekly, on the DXY weekly. So it's be interesting to see how price is going to pan out next week. Let me see if there's anything interesting on the 4 hour. Because I'm looking at daily buyers, I wouldn't want to go too on a very low time frame because I'll look at those ones when when I begin the week and I want to determine where I'm looking at for the week. So let me go to the Euro USD. All right. So on Euro USD, we see price take out the volume imbalance on the weekly, and after taking out the imbalance on the weekly, we see price begin to drop. We see price begin to drop on the weekly. Where prices right now, what would I be looking for? I can see prices we've hit the inverted fair value gap. We rejected off it, but once again, after rejecting, price seems to be pushing back into it again. Uh, this rejection initially made me feel like price was going to be bullish. But I mean, obviously, price is showing us that it didn't it didn't have such bullish intentions as I had hoped for. So we could be possibly looking at how a reversal in price. I don't know for sure yet, but at where we stand right now, what could be my next draw on liquidity? Should price start dropping down in line with what I was seeing on my DXY, we're looking at price coming to this fair value gap. This will be the next draw on liquidity. Price will most likely come to take out this fair value gap. So now the question will be, would I want to still be bullish? I don't know yet because based on my back testing, I don't change. I don't change until I see. I don't change until I see a correct bullish sentiment. A strategy that I might want to hold will be to only take A plus setups at this time, since I'm not too sure how price is going to move. So if I don't see anything that looks like price took a while to take out the high, it's not something I would want. Like, I mean, let me explain it well. In a Judas swing, you want to see wherever your liquidity is. An A plus setup will be that price just tips it and rejects instantly. In a situation where I see that price tips it and then keeps going for a while before it starts to reject, it's not an A plus setup for me. But should price tip it and we see that instant rejection, I think we had something like that on this particular day for EU. Just that I didn't take that trade. Example of an A plus setup. All right. So this is a perfect example. So I was not bearish this day, but you can see what happened here. This would be my high. This would be my high entering into New York, right? This would be my we see price take this out and instantly reject and starts pushing down. So for me, so let me just annotate this here. So this will be my Judas swing. This is my Judas swing since it came and took out this high. This will be my break of market structure right here. So we have that break of market structure or the market structure shift on the 15 minutes. We have our fair value gap here. We have our 15 minutes fair value gap here. And there we have our entry right there. It's valid because it's not past 11:30. So this would have tipped me in and let's refine for the 5 minutes. All right. So looking at the 5 minutes, we're looking somewhere around here. Okay. And then we're going somewhere like here. See, so this is a perfect entry. I think these are the only kind of entries I want to take on a day that I'm not very sure because this is like an A plus setup, A plus plus setup. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking at for this week because I'm not very sure how the market is going to react. But since I think I'm neutral this week because I can see price might drop a bit lower. It has potential to drop a bit lower, especially because of the DXY before dropping. So I'll be really monitoring the DXY to see how the DXY behaves, and then I get to help me get a good read on the market. So there goes my weekly analysis.